Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy with the Chance of Meeples. Today, we're heading to the far-off land called Astoria. Today, we take a look at the stock commodity game from Forbidden Games, plays 2 to 5 players. We're checking out Raccoon Tycoon. Cue the thunder. Okay, so the radar overview for Raccoon Tycoon. I'll make a mention that this is the deluxe edition of the game. So in the standard edition of the game, you don't get these wooden components, as well as you don't get these large tarot-sized cards. They would all be the same size as these price and production cards. You also wouldn't get this giant first player marker that's just ridiculous and awesome all at the same time. And also an upgrade that I have are these metal coins in the standard as well as the deluxe edition. It comes with paper money that's not really paper. It's kind of like, it actually reminds me of a Canadian money. It's kind of got this like plastic feel to it. So that's fantastic, but let's be honest, who doesn't want to have like giant $100 coins in your game that just look absolutely amazing? So this is how you set up the game. I will also show you some of the artwork. It's absolutely fantastic. Forbidden Games, as mentioned in a few of my other reviews, they pride themselves on artwork and top-notch quality, and Raccoon Tycoon is it hits the nail on the head. So this artwork is absolutely amazing. You got skunks, Sly Fox, the Fat Cat, Cordelia Snowmittens, the Big Bear, the raccoons, and just absolutely fantastic. The towns are also amazing. I believe that they were actually they're giant paintings, and then parts of the paintings are used in each of these. So like I said, top-notch artwork, top-notch quality components from Forbidden Games. You set up the board like this. You put each one of the commodities on the bottom of their respective tracks there, and then you make a general supply that everybody can reach. You shuffle these price and production cards, and then you deal 3 to each player. On your turn, you can do one of 5 things, and I'll go through those 5 things. It sounds like there's a lot going on, and there kind of is, but it's very streamlined. So 1 of 5 things. First thing you can do is you could play one of these price and production cards. So everybody, like I said, starts with a hand of 3, and let's just say I would play this one. Whatever's on the top, the blue section, you would move that price up 1 for each of them. So wheat would go up 1, wood would go up 1, and goods would go up 1. And then you do your production. Out of the bottom part, you can collect 3 out of the ones that are shown. So some of them have 5, like this card has got 5. Others have 4 and 3. So you can produce 3. So I would play that, and maybe I would take 3 iron. Be the next player's turn. Another action I could do is I could sell any amount of a single commodity. So further along in the game, let's just say that iron's up to $7 each. I then on my turn could sell 3 iron. 3 times 7, $21. So then I would take $21 in front of me. And then I would drop the iron stock 1 for each one that I sold. So I sold 3, so it would drop 3 down to $4. Okay, so what does money do? Well, it can do one of 2 things. You can use money to buy buildings. That's another option you can do on your turn. You can buy a building. In the corner, that shows you the cost of the building, $4. Some of them are considerably more expensive, $30, but this one allows you to gain 1 extra victory point for each building you have at the end of the game. So you could spend your money on a building, and there's a whole bunch of cool buildings. This one's pretty sweet. The coal and iron trading firm costs you $10, and then for the rest of the game, every time someone sells an iron and a coal, you gain $1 for each one that is sold. So that's fantastic. Let's see this one. Freight company, you may sell 2 commodities on your turn. A couple more here. Production of 5. instead of only 3. That one's pretty handy. It also costs you $40. Auction house. It's a $5 commission for each auction held. So anytime there's an auction, you gain $5 in commission. And that leads us to the other action, or the fourth action you can do on your turn. You can start an auction. That is what you use your money for as well. So you use money for buying railroads and buying buildings. And so if you set an auction, you would auction off one of these two. So I could say Tycoon Railroad up for auction. Starting bid is $7. That would be my bid because I'm the one that's putting it up for auction. And then we'll go around the table until there's only one person left. That person pays how much they say, which maybe they say $21. They will put that in front of them, and then it would be the next player's turn. If I was the player starting the auction and I lose the auction, at that point I may do another action. It could be starting another auction. It could be doing a price and production. It could be buying a building, or it could be gaining a town. And you buy towns not with money, but with the commodities. So this one, it will give me 2 victory points at the end of the game, plus 2 if I can match it with a railroad. So if I have 1 and 1, I would get the bonus 2. But it costs 2 iron to buy, or any 4 commodities. And then it would be flipped to the next one, and then this one's 2 wheat and 4 commodities, and so on and so forth. As you go down to the bottom of the deck, they become considerably more valuable, but they also cost considerably more resources. And turns would just continue going around the table until the game end is triggered, and the game end is triggered when all the buildings or all the towns or the railroads, or sorry, let's start that again. The game end is triggered when 2 out of the 3 are gone. So it can be the railroads and the buildings gone, or the towns and the railroads, or whatever it is. When 2 out of these 3 piles are all exhausted, that would end the game. And then you would move on to final scoring. So calculating your score at the end of Raccoon Tycoon might look something like this. As I mentioned before, this is set collection. So you're wanting to get a lot of these of the same type of railroad. And depending on how many in the railroad you get, that's how many points you would get. So for the Tycoon Railroad, I have 2. That will give me 9 points in total. Not each, 9 points in total. I have 1 Big Bear, so that will be another 3. Each of these towns are worth what they say, 2, 4, 6. And then plus another 4 would be 10. And then any town you can match with the railroad will give you an additional 2 victory points. So I have 3 railroads and 4 towns, so I can match 3 of these to these 3 railroads, giving me an additional 6. And then each building is worth 1 victory point, and some of them actually score you even more victory points, like the mayor's office. You gain 1 victory point for each building you have. So quick math, this will give you 9 plus 3 is 12, plus 10 for the towns, that'll be 22. And then you're matching 3 of them, so 22 plus 6 is 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. And that would be your final score. Whoever has the most victory points would be the winner. In case of a tie, whoever has the most money would be the winner. So the final forecast for Raccoon Tycoon, much like I've said about Forbidden Games, they pride themselves on artwork, presentation, components, and this is like a slam dunk. It's unbelievable. As you can see in the overview, the tarot size cards of this deluxe edition, those wooden components, you have that huge oversized first player marker. I mentioned I had the upgraded coins. Those absolutely fantastic. I know even in the base game or the deluxe edition without the coins, it has this paper money it kind of feels plasticky. It kind of actually feels like Canadian dollars, the dollar bills here in Canada. So overall, components, unbelievable. The artwork Annie Stagg has done is just top notch. So once again, it's virtually a 10 out of 10 when it comes to Forbidden Games when they put out games, because the components are really that good. Now, on to gameplay. This game's got a lot going on. You can do one of 5 things on your turn. The action selection gives you a lot to think about. You can produce goods, drive up the price. You can then sell those goods. With the money that you made selling goods, you can buy buildings that'll help you do cool things, like buy towns with less commodities, or buy 2 buildings, or kind of mess with the markets or the prices of some of the commodities. You can do that. It lets you hold extra goods and extra commodities so that you can then produce even more. Buildings, there's so many cool buildings in that, and that's one of my favorite parts about the game. More on that in a minute. You can buy railroads with the money. You can put them up for auction, and to start a frenzy of auction bidding that just brings a lot of craziness to the table, especially in the higher player counts. When you see someone who's got like 1 or 2 of a railroad already, and the third one or fourth one's up for auction, and they're desperately trying to get that to complete their set or to get that many more victory points. So auctions are always wild, especially in the higher player count. And then of course you can use your commodities to buy the towns, and then for every town or railroad you have, you get bonus victory points for that. So there's a lot to think about, a lot of choice in this game, and I think it's just overall just a great design. Back to the buildings, I love engine building, and this game has that. It's not necessarily engine as in you buy these buildings and then later on in the game they compound and then you can do even more. Some of them are, yes, but some of them just then score you more victory points. So then you can, kind of engine build and start buying certain buildings and then targeting, maybe getting lots of towns or lots of railroads, or one of them's a victory point for every, I think, $30 or $50. So then you can start collecting money to get victory points in that regard, because money at the end of the game doesn't really do you any good. I think maybe in a tie-breaking situation, but overall money doesn't do you any good. But one of the buildings, the bank, then it does. So I think there's a lot of different avenues in which you can win this game. You go for the railroads heavily, you get all those big set collections, or you go for lots and lots of towns. Just a whole bunch of different ways in which you can win. I want to speak on the auction house. If you played this game, or if you haven't played this game, the auction house, that's a building in which I see a lot of people think it's overpowered, or it wrecks the game, and I don't think so, because for the auction house, you buy that, I think it costs you $15, which is really cheap. Maybe it's $25, I don't know, but overall it's pretty cheap, and every time a railroad goes up for auction, at the end you gain a $5 commission. So yes, you gain money every time there's an auction for a railroad. And then of course, if you put a railroad up for auction on your turn and you don't win the auction, then you can do another turn. So it's not like you're wasting your turn. And so you could really do that until lots of railroads are gone and keep getting $5 every time. But again, money doesn't win you the game in this game. Victory points do. And every time other people are winning auctions that you're putting up, or just any auction, anytime someone's winning an auction, they're doing set collection, gaining victory points. And yes, you as the owner of the auction house are gaining $5. So for that, I don't think that's an overpowered tile. It seems too good to be true, but I think it's just as good as many of the others. So that's just my little snippet on the auction house. Just overall, the game is fantastic. I know they have a standard edition. I believe you can buy it in Barnes and Nobles in the States, and I think that's absolutely fantastic that you can buy this game in a mass market store. So for folks who aren't really into the board gaming hobby, kind of know the mass market games like Monopoly and the Risk and the Scrabble and all these classics that we've grown up playing, or many of us have grown up playing, having this at a big box store is, to me, fantastic, because it's so much more in a game than some of these classics or some of these ones that we're so used to. And so it's like a next step, not a next step necessarily in the mechanics of Monopoly, because Monopoly, you're buying properties and then you're charging people rent and buying buildings and hotels and houses and hotels and whatever. So this, you're not building houses and hotels and people aren't landing on your stuff and paying you, but It's got like that economic feel to it, that you're producing and you're driving the price up on things, and you're trying to, you know, like buy low and sell high, and it's got this nice ebb and flow that just moves quickly in this game. Turns are very fast. Like, even though there are five options of what to do on your turn, they go really, really fast. The only slow part of this game, I would say, would be the auction, and then everybody kind of counting their money to see how much they have. But overall, this game is an absolute gem. Forbidden Games, once again, has done a just top-notch production on this game and a really well-rounded design. I'm giving this one a solid 80% to Chance of Meeples. I think it's that good of a game. It's that enjoyable. With the expansion, you can play it up to 6 players. That may draw the game out a little bit. So if you're not liking those longer games, this may not speak to you. I know I've said in the past 30 to 60 minutes is in my wheelhouse of the types of games that I like. This one is higher than that, but it just moves along so quickly. It's just a gem. So 80% Chance of Meeples for Raccoon Tycoon. Check it out, and if you have a chance, buy the upgraded metal coins, because they're really, really that good. My name is Brent. Check us out on Facebook, Cloudy with the Chance of Meeples. If you so desire, like the video, subscribe for more videos coming your way. And remember, grab your umbrellas. The forecast is cloudy with a chance of meeples.